Today is March 3rd, 2026, and welcome to Furniture Industry News. I'm glad you're with me. This week, the industry feels like it's standing in the middle of two currents. On one side, there are real pressures: tariffs, geopolitical risk, store closures, cautious hiring. On the other, there are signs of stabilization, maybe even a modest rebound in certain areas. It's not a boom cycle, but it's also not the panic we've felt at times over the past couple of years. Let's walk through what matters most right now. First, tariffs. There's been growing conversation around potential refunds tied to tariffs imposed under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act. A recent filing by the Department of Justice suggests the process may move forward, but the Home Furnishings Association is urging patience. At this point, there is no approved method for applying for refunds and no clear timeline for when money, if any, would actually be returned. The practical advice for importers is fairly simple. Make sure you have an account set up in Customs and Border Protection's Automated Commercial Environment Portal, commonly known as the ACE portal. That's where any refund activity would be administered if it happens. But the key message is not to make financial decisions based on expectations. For now, it's a waiting game. While we're on the subject of pressure in the market, Circle Furniture's physical assets are heading to auction following the company's closure and Chapter 7 bankruptcy filing. The retailer closed its Massachusetts and New Hampshire stores late last year and listed estimated assets between $1 million and $10 million, against estimated liabilities between $10 million and $50 million. Gross sales were just over $15 million in 2025, down from nearly $19 million the year before. Separate online auctions for 9 locations begin March 10th and run through late April. The assets include furniture, lighting, rugs, art, bedding, decor, and store fixtures. For many independent retailers, this is a sobering reminder of how tight margins and shifting consumer demand can compound over time. At the national level, Target reported a softer fourth quarter but is projecting a modest rebound. For the quarter ended January 31st, sales declined 1.5% to just over $30 billion. Comparable sales fell 2.5%, with same-store sales down 3.9% while digital comps rose 1.9%. For the full fiscal year, net sales declined 1.7% to just under $105 billion. Target cited higher markdowns and purchase order cancellation costs as pressures on gross margin. Looking ahead, the company is forecasting positive top-line growth each quarter and about a 2% net sales increase for the full year, supported by a small lift in comparable sales and contributions from new stores and non-merchandise revenue. It's not explosive growth, but it signals a belief that consumer demand could firm up. There are also encouraging signs in certain product categories. Bassett Furniture reports strong dealer response to its Benchmade Hideaway dining program. The line features solid silver maple tables built in Virginia with delivery in 30 days or less. A key design element is a self-storing leaf concealed under the tabletop, allowing expansion without separate leaf storage. Bassett says the program is driving double-digit sales increases tied to demand for American-made solid wood dining with customization. One dealer in South Carolina reported a 25% increase in dining sales since adding the program last summer. Suggested retail pricing starts at $2,699 for tables and $399 for chairs. In an environment where lead time and supply chain predictability still matter, domestic production continues to resonate. Speaking of strategy shifts, several executives are rethinking how they use consumer insights. At recent discussions tied to High Point Market, leaders emphasize that shoppers now have constant access to information and can educate themselves quickly. But that doesn't mean they always understand what quality terms really mean. There's concern about misinformation from online influencers and even authoritative-sounding artificial intelligence tools. The takeaway is that brands are focusing more on clear storytelling and transparent communication. Construction details, performance features, and practical functionality are being spelled out in marketing materials. Executives also noted that a one-size-fits-all message doesn't work anymore. Different channels and different customer segments require tailored communication. Digital investment remains a major theme as well. A recent study surveying more than 50 executives across more than 30 furniture brands found that resistance to digital transformation is no longer the main barrier. Most companies plan to maintain or increase spending on digital tools, including enterprise resource planning systems, new platforms, and internal technologies. But execution is uneven. The report described gaps between investment and day-to-day performance. In other words, companies are buying the tools, but integration, consistency, and follow-through still need work. The money is being spent, yet the return depends on how well those systems are implemented. On the sentiment side, the first quarter home furnishing sentiment index showed a noticeable lift. About half of respondents predict sales will be up compared to last year, and the yearly sales projection index reached 142, the highest level in 5 quarters of tracking. The current state of business was rated at 60 on a 100-point scale, also the highest since tracking began. That said, hiring and capital investment remain cautious. The hiring index came in just under 100, meaning slightly more respondents are cutting back than adding staff. The capital investment index was 73. Housing market concerns and tariffs were cited by 77% of respondents as key issues, with consumer sentiment close behind. So the mood is improving, but no one is throwing open the spending doors just yet. Geopolitical risk is another variable to watch. Ongoing tensions involving Iran could affect furniture importers in several ways. First is fuel. Oil prices have moved sharply, and the Strait of Hormuz remains a critical choke point. Elevated oil prices can feed into bunker surcharges and higher ocean freight rates. Second is container capacity. Even if most furniture moves across the Pacific, instability in one region can shift vessel deployment and insurance costs globally, tightening capacity and lifting rates elsewhere. Third is compliance and longer-term strain. Importers are being advised to confirm trading partners are not on sanctions lists and to consider how extended rerouting away from areas like the Suez Canal, the Red Sea, and the Strait of Hormuz could affect timing and risk exposure. On the marketplace side, Etsy's latest financial report offers a window into broader consumer behavior. For the quarter ended December 31, 2025, Etsy reported revenue of $881.6 million, up 3.5% year-over-year. Net income was $110.7 million, with a margin of 12.6%, down from 15.2% a year earlier. Active sellers totaled 5.6 million, down 1.5% year-over-year. Home and living remains significant, representing 38% of revenues. That's a meaningful share and a reminder that consumers continue to engage with home-related purchases on digital marketplaces, particularly when they are looking for differentiated or niche products. Finally, consumer confidence data provides a bit of context for big-ticket buying. The Consumer Confidence Index rose 2.2 points in February to 91.2. The Present Situation Index dipped to 120, while the Expectations Index rose to 72. More consumers indicated they plan to make large purchases than not, and furniture buying plans increased on a 6-month moving average basis. Home buying plans, however, were unchanged month over month and declined on a 6-month basis. Taken together, that suggests consumers are still thinking about furniture purchases, even if broader housing activity remains soft. And on the retail footprint front, Wayfair continues its push into physical stores. The company announced plans for a second large-format location in Atlanta, roughly 150,000 square feet, targeted to open in 2026. The store is positioned as a one-stop destination spanning furniture, decor, housewares, appliances, and home improvement. It's another example of a digital-first brand investing in brick and mortar as part of a blended model. That's where we stand this week. Cautious optimism, disciplined spending, and a lot of eyes on tariffs, freight, and the consumer. If you find these updates helpful, be sure to subscribe to Furniture Industry News so you don't miss the next episode.